the hexmarket.com launched their new feature where you can create your own artwork and attach value to it via ERC20s or HSIs or whatever you want, really. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like what he's doing over there, and I just was doing a little bit of a deep dive on the Hedron staking that you can do on that platform. As we talked about last time, Max, on 100% uptime, I'm kind of anticipating that we're going to see some HSIs going on market over there come November 13th, 14th, 15th, and so on. And that may actually be a decently credible place to stake a little bit of Hedron. And the reason I say that is that's the only place I know of where you can stake Hedron and earn more Hedron, right? If you're staking on the Icosa platform, you're earning Icosa, which is great. But if anybody wants to stake Hedron and earn more Hedron, that might be the place to be. And right now, I mean, you're really not going to be making any rewards. But if the traffic kicks up on that website, which I hope it does, it may be a good spot to park a little bit of Hedron. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Slav?
Well, actually, yeah, that's something I've been wanting to talk to you about because I listened to the stream and we talked a little bit about it behind the scenes, like in some DMs. But can you just walk me through the mechanism on like the progression of why you think more HSIs are going to end up on the secondary market?
Yeah. So for starters, we were talking about the Icosa ceiling, and we were looking in particular about those 2 days where it broke off from its ceiling price and traded below there, right, at a real discount. And that happened because of a shark, somebody classified as a shark came in and was selling a bunch of selling a bunch of Icosa, and it broke the ceiling price. It kind of shocked a lot of people. I think the reason why it took a couple days to get bought up is a lot of people were just sitting back and watching and being like, all right, is this going to recover? Or is this the point where it stops trading at the ceiling price, right? So there was a couple days where that happened, and that was just shark status dumping. Now, when we get around to the auction day, I'm anticipating a lot of participation in those auctions, and there may be a lot of scenarios where a lot of people get HSIs on cheap, and their whole thought process is, how can I capitalize on this HSI auction? Well, one way to do it would be to go in there and just try to get the best deal you can on a bunch of HSIs. And as you're winning these HSIs, you're selling them back to the Icosa contract for Icosa, and then swapping that on the market for USDC or dumping it on the market. And that could create an event where we also see the Icosa price drop down from the ceiling and trade a little bit below. Now, if that's the case, if it drops down to the ceiling, say it's dropped 50%, say it's trading around 50 cents, right? 50, 60 cents per Icosa. Wouldn't it be a great idea to take your HSI, if you're trying to flip it, take that HSI, knock 20% off of the inherent value in it, and then post it on an NFT market like stake or hexmarket.com. And then you've got people looking, it's like, oh wow, you can actually get an HSI cheaper than what it's worth. Like that should be bought up right away. Now the person selling, they were going to sell no matter what, and so they could either take a 50% haircut or they could take a 20% haircut, right? And that's just gonna drive up some volume on that website, I foresee.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Basically, some people get a deal on the mintable Icosa from the HSIs relative to the dollar value of the Hedron that they use to obtain it. And then that's going to drive the Icosa price down to a place where it's people are no longer capitalizing on that opportunity because it's no longer really viable anymore. And so because of that, people are still going to try to flip them, but relative to what would have been the ceiling price, which is like the cost it would be to make the stake at the current Hex market value and T-share rate. And so if they can get a deal there, maybe they buy it at 60% off what the current price is to make that stake. Well, maybe they'll sell it for 80% instead because they're just trying to capture that 20% delta from where they obtained it from. But the other user on the secondary market is still getting a 20% deal. Is that kind of that's what I'm hearing?
Basically, they could just split the difference, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So my opinion on that is I don't think we see many HSIs going for any deals like that. To be totally honest, because of exactly the thing that you're like, the exact mechanism you outlined is exactly why people will continue to bid it up until they get to like 90, 95% of that current market value, just because it is economically viable to do that. So like, especially if the Icosa price is at its ceiling, then I think all of them will be going at least for whatever that ceiling price is, at least until until the low liquidity nature of the Icosa pool breaks, just because a percentage of those people are selling it for Icosa. And then I still think it'll at least go to wherever Icosa drops, because there's still arbitrage opportunity there. But still, that whatever it costs to make a stake, that is still like the second ceiling on top of it. I still think it'll probably reach that. The wild card is just the first day, because there's so many HSIs. Like something's gonna slip through the cracks. There's gonna be chaos. Like that's like the period where I think there's a high probability of obtaining good deals, where something like what you're talking about is most probable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And the mayhem is something that is hard to understate. Like,
I don't think
we can't overstate it enough. Like, the mayhem when we had like 3 or 4 HSIs going at the same time, and they all got liquidated at the exact same time. So the timer, the 24-hour clock, was basically exact. And we're in there, and we're dealing with the 6-9 whale, and we're dealing with the troller, the +1 Hedron on every bid, right? You're dealing with both of those guys at the same time, and not to mention, like, these block times are not super fast. Right? Yep. Ethereum block times aren't super
13
fast.
seconds, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But it varies. And then what if your transaction fails, right?
Yep.
How much are you going to pay on gas? Are you going to tip to make sure it goes through?
Well,
what's the gas price is going to be on that day? And are you going to be able to quickly calculate that into what that value of that HSI is? And then do you have a spreadsheet ready to go where you can punch in all these numbers so that you know what the ceiling price is? And then how quickly can you jump from one stake to the next? Thank you. Good. I'm proud of you. How quickly can you jump from one HSI to the next, quickly plug in those numbers, and then decide, is that the right one, or is the next one the right one, or is the other 2,500 HSIs the right one? Yep. So, yeah, it's going to be mayhem, and there's no way we can overstate that enough. And there will be some flips, and there will be some deals. Absolutely. I guarantee you we'll see at least a large percentage of what I would say like 5% of all the HSIs go at the actual base rate, at the liquidation price. I bet you we see 5% go at that price. I was talking to Alex a little while ago about how long it's going to take for all these HSIs to come off the market. And his first initial guess was like 4 days. He's like, it's probably going to take like 4 days to get all these off the market. And I'm like, I'm guessing from the moment that you can liquidate these, I'm calling for, 28 hours. So you got the 24-hour window, and then 4 hours after the first one can be won, I think all the rest of them will be gone. Like, I don't think we can underestimate people's willingness to go on there and liquidate all these.
People will be. I think, because if I remember correctly, I think when Alex is updating the UI, he's going to have filtering options for like the HSIs. So one of them will probably be like unbid or like unstarted auctions. And I anticipate there are some people who are just going to be fat fingering that button as many times as possible, because you want to eat. You actually don't want to like wait 5-10 minutes and then start auctions. You want, as if you're trying to get like the base rate, you want to start as many as possible at the same time, so that they're all ending exactly at the same time, so that like there's a higher probability that one of them slips through. You don't want to be like slowly dripping them, because if you slowly drip them, then they slowly drip at that same rate when they end. So I just imagine like everybody, there's going to be a subset of people with a lot of Ethereum who are just going to be fat fingering it as much as they possibly can to try to get something through, which is essentially a free hex stake.
It's going to be wild. And today is, we're basically 30 days out. Like at 6 o'clock,
30-day birthday,
0 UTC, that is when the second payment has been missed, right?
Yep.
The second payment has been missed, 30 days out.